Welcome to Bishop's Online Tutoring. This is sheet number 5, covering fractions of an amount. A school has 1,200 pupils. 575 of these pupils are girls. 2/5 of the girls like sport and 3/5 of the boys like sport. Work out the total number of pupils in the school who like sport. Well, first things first, let's get used to writing down the key information. So we know that 575 is how many girls we have. So to work out how many boys we have, because it's a total school of 1,200 pupils, we just do 1,200 take away 575, which gives us 625. So that's our number for how many boys there are. Now the next part of the question says that 2/5 of the girls like sport. So to work out exactly how much that is, we'll do 2 over 5 times by the number for the girls, which is 575. Now the way I like to do this is just put this over 1. I know I'm multiplying the top 2 and the bottom 2, so that leaves me with 1,150 over 5. Now 5 goes into 115 a total of 23 times, so we'll go into 1,150 230 times. So that's how many girls like sport. The next part of the question says that 3/5 of the boys like sport, so we're going to do the exact same thing, but this time with the boys. So 3 over 5 times by how many boys are there? 625. So 625 over 1 equals to 1,875 over 5, which is equal to 375. Now we have basically figured out the question, but we're not finished just yet. The question is actually asking us to work out the total number of pupils in school who like sport. So in order for us to do this, we have to add the number of girls who like sport and the number of boys who like sport. So the number of girls who like sport is 230, and the number of boys that like sport is 375. So 230 plus 375 gives us 605. And that's how many pupils in this school like sport. A train travels from London to Manchester. It leaves London at 4:55. It arrives in Manchester at 7:45. Work out the number of minutes this train takes to travel from London to Manchester. Notice that they have asked us to give this answer in minutes, so be careful of that. Don't go and just say like, oh, 3 hours and X minutes or whatever. Make sure you write your answer in minutes. The way I like to answer a question like this is I like to make a little bit of a table. So this is how many hours I'm borrowing and this is how many minutes I'm borrowing. So for example, I'm going to borrow 5 minutes to take 4:55 up to 5 o'clock. So I've added 5 minutes, okay? Now to go from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock, I'm going to add 2 hours, and that takes me over to 7 o'clock. Now I want to go from 7 o'clock to 7:45, so I have to add another 45 minutes, okay? To go from this to this. So now let's add up how many hours and minutes we've got, okay? So we've got 5 minutes and 45 minutes. Well, we know that 5 plus 45 is equal to 50. So we've got 50 minutes there, but we've also got 2 hours. Now each hour has 60 minutes and we've got 2 lots of those. So that's 120 minutes. So now we do 120 plus 50 and our answer is 170. So it takes 170 minutes to go from London to Manchester. There are 800 people on the train at Manchester. 1/10 of these 800 people are children. Work out 1/10 of 800. There's a bunch of different ways that we can work something like this out. So 1 over 10 times by 800, we can put over 1 equals to 800 over 10. We can get rid of this 0, get rid of this 0, and that leaves us with 80. So we can work it out like that. The other way you could have done a question like this is, you know that 1 over 10 is equal to 10 over 100, which is equal to 10%. To work out 10%, all you have to do is take your number, right? Add a point, add a 0, take the decimal point, move it 1 spot to the left. So then you're left with 80. However you choose to do this, your answer should be 80. 3/8 of those 800 people are women. Work out 3/8 of 800. Well, to work out 3/8 of 800, we just multiply it by 800. Now, I always like to add over 1 just to make it simpler, because I know when I'm multiplying two fractions, I'm multiplying the two numerators together and the two denominators together. So 3 times by 800 gives me 2400, and then 8 times by 1 is 8. Now 8 goes into 24 3 times, it'll go into 240 30 times, and it'll go into 2400 300 times. So the answer is 300. The rest of the 800 people are men. Work out the number of men on the train. Well, from the previous question, we know that 80 of these 800 people are children, 300 are women, so 300 plus 80 is 380. Now all we have to do is 800 take away 380 which gives us 420, and that's our answer. That's how many men there are on board. 320 of the 800 people are under the age of 21. Work out 320 out of 800 as a percentage. So the first thing we can do is we can write 320 as 320 over 800. We can simplify this by cutting out the zeros and whatever, but let's forget that for now. To go from a fraction to a percentage, all you have to do is multiply it by 100. So timesing it by 100 is the same as timesing it by 100 over 1. So then you end up with 32,000 over 800. Let's cross off these two zeros, cross off these two zeros. Now you're left with 320 over 8, which can be simplified to 160 over 4 because 2 goes into both of those. Again, we can put 2 into both 160 and 4, so that will go down to 80 over 2. And 80 divided by 2 we know is 40. So this is 40%. Danny shares a bag of 20 sweets with his friends. He gives Mary 3/5 of the sweets. He gives Anne 1/10 of the sweets. He keeps the rest for himself. How many sweets does Danny keep for himself? So let's first figure out how much he gives to Mary and then how much he gives to Anne. And then whatever that is, we'll add that together, take it away from the original 20 sweets, and then we'll see whatever's left over. Because whatever's left over is what he kept for himself. So firstly, he gives Mary 3/5 of the sweets. So 3 over 5 times by 20 over 1. That's going to be 60 over 5. 60 divided by 5 is 12. So he gave 12 sweets to Mary. Next, he gives Anne 1/10 of the sweets. So we'll do the exact same thing. 1 over 10 times by 20 over 1. Now 20 times by 1 is 20. 10 times by 1 is 10. Cross the zeros off. That's 2. So he gave 2 sweets to Anne. I wonder who's his favorite. So now we have how much Mary gets and how much Anne gets. So Mary got 12, Anne got 2. Add that together, you get 14. 20 take away 14 is 6. So Danny kept 6 sweets for himself. A class has 29 students. 16 of the students are girls. What fraction of the students are boys? So 16 out of 29 are girls. So that would mean that whatever is left out of the 29 is going to be boys. So 29 take away 16 is 13. So that would mean that 13 out of the 29 are equal to boys. Just make sure you write it over the answer line, and that's it. A box contains 200 tissues. Toby takes 3/5 of these tissues. Work out how many tissues he takes. So all we have to do is 3 over 5 times by 200. Make this easy for yourself. Add an over 1 to it. Now you multiply these two and these two. That gives us 605. 60 divided by 5 is 12. So 600 divided by 5 will be 120. So that's our answer, 120. Okay, so we can see that we have a discount or something for young person's rail card, a third off normal price. Lisa uses her rail card to buy a ticket. She gets a third off the normal price of the ticket. The normal price of the ticket is £24.90. Work out how much Lisa pays for the ticket. Now, make life easy for yourself. I don't know about you, but I don't like dividing or dealing with like decimals. So convert £24.90 into pence. So all you're going to do is times it by 100. So £24.90 is going to go and become 2,490p. Now we've got a whole number, so it's going to be a lot more simple for us to work on this. So to work out 1/3 of the normal price is 2490, 2,490 now. We're going to do 1 over 3 times by 2490. Let's add a line, add a 1. We multiply 1 with 2,490, that gives us 2,490, and 3 times by 1 gives us 3. Now, time to do a little bit of long division, but when you do it, 2,490 divided by 3 is equal to 830. So now 830p is equal to that 1/3 discount that you can get with the rail card. So now all you have to do is 2,490 take away 830, which we know is 1,660. Now, let's convert this back into pounds because the answer is clearly meant to be in pounds. So 1,660p is equal to £16.60. So that's our answer. There are 30 students in a class. 20 of these students are female. Find the fraction of the class that is female. Give your answer in its simplest form. So there's 30 students in the class. 20 of them are female. Let's simplify this. Firstly, we can get rid of the 0 and 0, and we're left with 2 over 3. And we're kind of finished there, to be honest. In a shop, the normal price of a jacket is £60. The cost of the jacket in a sale is 3/4 of the normal price. Work out 3/4 of £60. Now, do you remember what I said earlier on about if you see of and it's a fractions question, just replace this with a times. So we have to do 3 over 4 times by 60 over 1, which is equal to 3 times by 60 is 180, and 4 times by 1 is 4. Now we can simplify this. They're both even numbers, and so 2 will go into both of them. So 180 divided by 2 is 90, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now 90 divided by 2 is 45. So £45 is the cost of the jacket during the sale. Darren has to travel an eighth of a mile to the shop. Write an eighth as a decimal. So to go from a fraction to a decimal, you can multiply it by 100. So 1 over 8 times by 100 will give us 100 over 8, and then you can simplify that. 2 goes into both of those. So you've got 50 over 4. Simplify it again with 2, which becomes 25 over 2. 25 over 2 is the same as 12.5. So 12.5 is 1 over 8 as a whole number. Now we have to divide it by 100. So 12.5 divided by 100 is going to be 0.125. And that's our answer, 0.125. Work out 1/4 of 24. So 1 over 4 times by 24 over 1 gives us 24 over 4. We can simplify this, divide both of the numbers by 2, so we end up with 12 over 2. Same thing, 6 over 1, which is equal to 6. Our answer is 6. Work out 10% of 400 kg. Now, this question is only going to give us 1 mark, so there's no working out mark. So I'm not really going to waste any time trying to show you how to work this out. I want you to understand one rule. If you're ever dividing by 10, you take the decimal point, which in this case for 400 is over here, because 400 as a decimal is 400.0, and then you move it 1 space to the left. So you end up with 40. There are 24 men in a room. Half of the men are wearing a red shirt. A third of the men are wearing a green shirt. The rest of the men are wearing a blue shirt. Work out the number of men wearing a blue shirt. We already know that there's 24 men in the room in total. So half of them are wearing a red shirt. So half of 24 is equal to 12. So that's the red ones sorted. Okay? Now, a third of the men are wearing a green shirt. So a third of 24, let's change that to a multiply, is equal to 24 over 3. 24 divided by 3 is 8, and that is green. So 12 plus 8 is 20. There are 24 people in total, so that means that 4 people are wearing a blue shirt. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you got something valuable out of that video. Make sure you check out some of the other videos on our channel where we pretty much go through every single topic within the GCSE Maths syllabus.